Again, my name is Brad Strait, and I'm the senior pastor here. I want to talk as introduction as to why we at Cherry Creek do this event called Chautauqua at Creek. What a strange name. And I'd like to take just a minute and talk about three movements that I think all kind of dovetail, kind of come together in confluence. The first one is the Chautauqua movement of the last century. Are any of you familiar with the Chautauqua movement? Happened starting in 1874. A Methodist minister by the name of John Vincent and a local businessman by the name of Lewis Miller decided that they had come up with some great ways to teach kids how to study the Bible. And they wanted to teach adult Sunday school teachers these new educational methods. So they rented a camp on the shores of Chautauqua Lake, and they gathered teachers together and taught them how to teach the Bible. And it started this movement that over the next 40 or 50 years grew and grew and grew in popularity until by the 1920s there were thousands of Chautauqua-style events scattered all over rural America where people would invite a speaker and have them do it. There were whole circuits where somebody would start at the beginning of the summer and then they would just go circuit to circuit to circuit teaching different things. Over 45 million people around the turn of the century would go to these Chautauquas. Well, why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. First, they picked really good speakers. They were new speakers each year. They had speeches a lot on inspiration, on personal holiness, on societal reform, on what does it look like to live out the Christian faith. And that was really touching a note because if you remember, this is the time of the Ford starting. This is the movement of the industrial change. People leaving the villages and the small towns and moving into the cities. And so there was a lot of shifts of life in America, and people were really nervous. What's going to happen to our way of life? What's going to happen? The gatherings, these Chautauqua events, answered several needs that the people were feeling in the American life. The first was, how do we keep a divide from growing between those that live on the coasts and in the cities and those who live in the heartland of America? How do we maintain our communities and still stay connected? I think that's a pretty good question for today. I think it answers this feeling that they had, what's happening to our country? How do we grow and adapt while at the same time hold on to the key moral truths that we think are so valuable? And so these Chautauquas would bring in speakers to speak to that. And I also think that Chautauqua events posed a question to this, or an answer to this question, which I think was so critical at the time and is still so critical. Where is God in the midst of massive societal change? And how does the average father or mother or grandfather or grandmother lead their families when things are changing? That was really what they were designed. And then they got so popular that they brought in comedians, they brought in storytellers, they brought in musicians who would come and entertain for a night, and it became the thing to do. Let's grow ourselves. Let's pull together as a community. In some church or some hall, in some little town, let's get together and let's learn from the very best how we are to live our faith life out. And that struck us at Cherry Creek many, many years ago, that there was a need for that still in America. A need for us to just to get together and to learn and to grow and to listen.